I can't play Football Manager out of the box anymore. Not since I've experienced the World Super League. Have you ever felt bored with the base game? Have you ever found yourself getting frustrated after a decade or 2 or 5 in a place like Iceland, where you can always win the league but can never quite win the Champions League? Well, if so, you might want to give this add-on a try. World Super League is a Football Manager add-on made by a guy on FM Scout who goes by the handle Darth Furion. He's done one of these every single year since 2017 when he came out with the European Super League. Now, I've got no connections to him, there's no sponsorships or anything like that, other than the fact that I buy this add-on every year. His modification is so good that I really can't see myself ever playing any other way. This add-on makes for an absolutely crazy adventure. The most current version has 1,200 teams, a ton of money flowing around, and a league structure that is more than satisfying. So let's dive right into this. As you know, I'm managing Kashiwa, which is a Japanese team located in a small commuter town between Tokyo and Chiba. Now, we want to put Kashiwa on the map, but it's not going to be easy. The competition just in our league alone comes from all over the globe. There are 24 teams in this league that range from Thailand to China, from Egypt to India to Slovenia. Our league stretches a long way. And it's not just us. Our league is one of 6 at the Super League 4 level. So let me back up a little bit. There are 6 tiers in this world in all. You've got the Premier League on top and then 5 tiers of Super Leagues. Each tier consists of multiple leagues with 24 teams each, except for the Premier League. That league has 96 teams, which are divided into 4 groups of 24 each for the first part of the regular season, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Now, the easiest way to picture this is to see what our path forward is like. We're not going to worry too much about Super League 5. So you know that league has 4 leagues and 96 teams and is made up of mostly borderline clubs that are non-league in sort of the English system sense. We won't be relegated, at least I hope we won't, and so we're not going to really need to worry too much about them. If you are in Super League 5, there are 3 teams that are promoted, and then there are no relegations. It's basically the end. It's where everything begins. So we're in Super League 4. In our league of 24 teams, there are 4 automatic promotion spots, and then there are 3 relegation spots. This is true for all 6 leagues within Super League 4. That means that an overall number of 24 teams at this level will be promoted out of the 144 total teams. Now, next up is Super League 3, which consists of 8 leagues with a total of 192 teams, again 24 per league. Each league has 4 promotion spots and 3 relegation spots. So we have to go up through Super League 4, be promoted to Super League 3, and then be one of the top 4 teams there to reach Super League 2. Super League 2 is where it gets a little bit harder. There are 16 leagues there and 384 total teams, but each league has only 3 promotion spots and 2 relegation spots. And once you pass Super League 2, So in Super League 1, there are 12 leagues total, again 24 teams per league for a total of 288 teams. But this is where stuff really gets crazy. In the version I'm using, the 12 Super League 1 league winners, so the first place teams, are automatically promoted to the Premier League. Then the 12 runner-up teams advance to the playoffs, which we'll talk about in a second. Meanwhile, 4 teams from each of these leagues, remember 12 leagues, are relegated, so there's a total of 48 relegations. Now, the Premier League itself has 96 teams, as I mentioned. All 96 are divided into groups of 24 for the first 23 matches of the season, And then they're divided again into 4 general groups. The top 4 teams in every division wind up in the championship group. They're the teams that compete for the championship. The next 4 are in the upper table group. Both of these groups consist of 16 teams, so they play 15 additional games, one against each other team in that group, for an overall season of 38 matches. So 23 in the first tranche and then 15 in the second. Now that covers the top 8 teams in your Premier League division. The next 8 are divided into mid-table groups. There are 2 total mid-table groups consisting of 16 teams each, and they also play 15 additional games. Again, it's 38 matches total. And then come the lower table teams. So the bottom 8 teams in each division wind up in the lower table group, which is then divided again into 2 groups of 16 teams each of which again play 15 games total. And so when all is said and done, you have 38 matches total for each team in the Premier League. Of course, that's a little bit less than what you get in the leagues that are further down below, where you have 46 matches. Now, the bottom 12 teams in all of the Premier League are automatically relegated according to total point count. So every match counts in the point standings. The next 4 teams up from those bottom 12 go to the playoffs. They are together with those 12 runner-up teams in Super League 1. Now these playoffs consist of 4 pods of 4 teams each, so there's 16 teams in all, and they play 3 matches per pod. The top team either stays in the Premier League or moves up to the Premier League, and the other 3 all go down to Super League 1. So you can see how difficult it is, right? If you want to move up from Super League 1 to the Premier League, your best shot is to win the league outright, but you're facing not just one, but perhaps more than one team that has recently been relegated that probably has a lot more money than you do. Your second best shot is to try to get second place and hope that you can win that pod, but I mean, you've got 3 matches to do it in. Now there's more to it than just this, of course. There's also a 32-team Champions League, a 32-team Europa League, and a 32-team Conference League. That adds up to 96 teams total, which means that every Premier League team winds up being in an additional international competition. So yeah, you have 38 matches, but you have a couple other extra matches to face because you're in Europe. Now, in addition to all of this, there's also a Super League Cup at every single level of the competition, including a massive 384-team Super League Cup, which features every team from the Premier League and from Super League 1. You can imagine the type of cup ties you can get, and if you're maybe a marginal team in Super League 1, if you can get a really good cup draw, you could get a lot of money, and you could also get a lot of prestige and reputation for yourself really quickly. And then, of course, in addition to all this, there's also the full 1,200-team FA Cup. So theoretically, with this setup, you could win the quadruple. That would be winning the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Super League Cup. If you did all that, you would be the undisputed best team in the world. But do you think that's really possible? Anyway, I recommend giving it a try for yourself and finding out. There's a link to the competition in the description below. The free version is a very abbreviated version of this. What you really want to do is you want to go for the paid version, which is the full version. That's the version that I'm using. And when you start it, trust me, you're not going to want to go back to anything else because it just completely dominates your mind and you start to see what's really possible in Football Manager. So if you want to try it out, check out the link below. And of course, if you've played this before, let me know your experiences down below. I'd love to know. Talk to you later.